Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman. I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. In this video I reviewed the film Candy Cane Lane, starring Eddie Murphy, Tracee Ellis Ross, Jillian Bell, and directed by Reginald Hudlin. I'm going to tell you what I liked about the film, I'm going to tell you what I didn't really like about the film, then I'm going to tell you why I think you should see the film or just skip it. So let's get to it. What did I like about the film? Well, first and foremost, I love that it was a Christmas movie that focused on a black family. So growing up, I loved watching Christmas movies. Miracle on 34th Street, It's a Wonderful Life, A Christmas Story. And every so often there'd be a black Christmas movie. For example, The Kid Who Loved Christmas, which, like Candy Cane Lane, was produced by Eddie Murphy. The Preacher's Wife, starring Denzel Washington. A Diva's Christmas Story, starring Vanessa Williams. And most recently, Jingle Jangle. With so many negative stereotypes out there towards black people that still are persistent within the media, it's good to see a movie where the black family is featured in a positive way with no negativity whatsoever. No white savior nonsense, no gangster talk, just a regular, middle class black family. You might as well have called Eddie Murphy's character Dr. Huxtable. The second thing I liked about the movie is that it was surprisingly funny. So looking at the trailer, I was not expecting really much humor that I would like. Even some of the things I found funny in the movie, in the trailer, I was like, okay, here we go. So first you have Timothy Simons. His dry humor was just hilarious. And he wasn't anchored to anything specific in the movie. He would kind of say things off the cuff. And I found pretty much everything he said funny on some level. Then you have Michael Redd. So Michael Redd from SNL, he was playing one of the kind of little figurine characters that you see in the trailer, and he was just him. Like it was, you might as well have been an SNL sketch where he's that character. And so he was just saying stuff throughout, and it was funny. And then there's Eddie Murphy. And so Eddie Murphy had a really interesting kind of tightrope to walk. So he is the wholesome father, but every so often he'd be Eddie Murphy. Nothing raunchy, nothing, no, not Eddie Murphy's Raw. But every so often he would be Eddie Murphy. He would say something like, that's Eddie Murphy funny.
Why y'all just like Prince?
And it's not the whole movie. He's still more Daddy Daycare than Coming to America, but it's still a lot of him kind of coming in. I'm thinking ad-libbing and saying funny stuff throughout the movie. And then one honorable mention is DC Young Fly. Now I do find DC Young Fly funny. Sometimes a little over the top, but in this particular movie, I'm not going to spoil anything who he is, but he's a funny character. And so yeah, so I didn't really care for him in the trailer. It was kind of little, I was like, here we go. But he's actually good in the movie, throughout the movie, and he would throw in some funny stuff, just like Eddie Murphy, just being himself. Again, nothing too raunchy, but he would throw stuff in there every so often that would just get a chuckle. So what didn't I like about the movie? Well, I have to say that the story, or the movie itself, was just all over the place. It was really convoluted. Now, to be fair, the basic premise of the movie, what they're trying to accomplish, is pretty straightforward. It's just that the execution to get there was just a mess. I mean, I can't say too much without spoiling the movie, but the way I would say it is this. Every so often when the characters would say, I didn't see that coming, or that came out of nowhere, and I'd be the same way, like, what is that? Why are we here? Why is she in here? Like, there was a lot of that, it was very confusing at different times, and I'm kind of like, and also towards the end, there was something that happened that I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. Like, the rules state this, and then this thing happened. So there was a lot of that. So the movie was kind of all over the place. I think it felt like a movie. I know they had a writer and a director, but it felt like a movie made on committee. Like, they had so many notes from different parts that they had to throw everything in there. And at the end of the day, it was just this big jumbled mess of a movie. Another thing I didn't like about the film was the constant overacting. In particular, Danielle Pinnock, who, when I was watching the trailer, I realized, I said, I'm not a big fan of her, and it's because of her overacting, and so that's very much on display in this movie. So, it's like you have this character who's given lines, but it doesn't really matter who's there, what's around. It's mainly she's in one space. You see it in the trailer, but it doesn't matter what the other actor is saying. She just kind of goes. She's kind of at this one tone, like she does. It's almost like she's acting against nothing, and so I just didn't really care for her. She felt more like almost like a plot device because she's had different connections and things like that. And so yeah, it just wasn't really a great performance for me. And then there's Jillian Bell, who I would say at times I thought she was a decent villain, but then she'd be like walking around and just kind of just almost like this cartoon character, which I get is kind of like it's supposed to be like that, but it was just too much. I mean, there's one point where there was these candy canes on Candy Cane Lane, not candy canes, no, peppermints. Sorry, peppermints that were on the ground. She puts the peppermint in her mouth off the ground, and she's like, at one point she sees something and she starts talking, the peppermint's coming out of her mouth. I'm like, come on. Like, this is too much. It's too much. Overacting. There's no subtlety to the character whatsoever. I mean, I think about an actual animated character like Scar from The Lion King. Like, that's a very subtle, smart, subtle character. And she's more of a cartoon character as a real person than that animated character. And the last critique I have for the film is that for a family film, there's a lot of kind of sexual innuendo and language and things that don't really fit with a family film. As I mentioned earlier, the film is actually funny at various points, but sometimes that humor comes at the cost of its family-friendly nature. For example, Michael Redd I thought was really good, but there's one scene where you have Eddie Murphy and Tracee Ellis Ross in the bedroom, and they're talking about something, and I think they start kissing, and then Michael Redd's character, the little figurine, is sitting there looking at him, and they acknowledge him, and Eddie Murphy gets rid of him, but how he gets rid of him kind of funny too. But the point is, that doesn't really fit in this movie. Like, you have this character who's he was a real person. I mean, I guess spoiler alert. He's a real person. He's trying to watch them have sex. Like, what is this? So, should you see this film or just skip it? So if you're trying to watch a film on the level of an Elf or A Christmas Story, then you should skip it. It's not at that level at all. The writing is weak. I would say the direction's weak. It's chaos. It's all over the place. It's just not a overall great movie. However, if you want something just to kind of have on and not have to think too hard, just kind of zone out, that has a Christmassy theme and has Eddie Murphy in it, I'm an Eddie Murphy fan. I think he's great. He was great in the movie. Then see it. Now, if you found that review interesting and or informative, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if there are other Christmas movies you want me to review on this channel, please leave those suggestions on the comment section below. Thank you all for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.